Okay, so go ahead, Tommy, with your next question.
My next question is, it says, he like does all this stuff, and it's 20 divided by 20, and that would equal 0, and 120 divided by 20 would equal, well, I think my math skills right now, but, and then how do you, because then it says 6/8 equals 15/20. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. I'm good. Never mind. I just remembered something.
Okay, so I want to go back to a couple things that you said there. So you said 20 divided by 20 equals 0. Now, I disagree with that. If you have any number and you divide it by itself, so let's say I had 20 cookies and I divided it between
it's equal 1. Never mind.
Yes, it's equal to 1. 20 divided by 20 is equal to 1. So that's how we isolated that variable.
It's been a little for too long.
That's okay. So any number divided by itself is 1. So that's where we get that 1x alone. And then it's okay if you need to use your calculator to do 120 divided by 20 on the other side of your equation equals 6. And so then, Tommy, you can see that's where, now that we know x equals 6, if you go back to the original proportion where you had the ratio on one side, the equal sign, and the ratio on the other side, all they did was they did what with the x in the original equation? Now that we know it's 6, what did they do with it here? Can you see how they just plugged the value of x in where the x was in the original equation?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so that's where they came up with that new 6/8 equals 15/20. All right, let's try it now. Let's look at number 3. Andy?
Yeah, I have a question. So if a variable had, like, if it, for example, for 3, actually, what if the variable in 2 was like 5x? Would we still multiply it normally, or would we do it differently?
So if in the original, if it said 5x over 8 instead of just x over 8? Is that what you mean, Andy?
Yeah.
So then you would multiply 5 times 20 is 100x is what you would have there. You would multiply the number in front of the variable times the other whole number, and then the variable would still just be x, unless you ever had a time when you were multiplying something like 5x times 20x, while the whole numbers would multiply times each other. 5 times 20 is 100. If you multiplied x times x, what do you get if you multiply x times x? Does anybody remember?
X is 20.
Oh, 2x.
Not 2x, because that would be x plus x, but x times x. Ooh, who just said that? Say it louder.
X squared.
X squared. A number times itself gives you that number squared. So x times x would be x squared in that case. I think later in the year we're going to come to some expressions and equations standards, and we will be practicing some more of that. Okay, so that's a really good question. But for now, luckily, in our equations, in our cross multiplying, we only have one variable, so you're just multiplying the whole number times the variable. But that's a good question, bringing us to the next step, like later in the process, later in the year. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press play on the video. You've had time to try to solve cross multiplying on your own using what you learned for number 3. So let's check your work using the video. So I'm going to start the video again. Here we go.
Were we not supposed to do number 4?
You could do number 4 too if you had time.
All right, I did that.
Awesome. Okay, let's check number 3. So here we go.
Now where we have 9/12 equals 6 and then our variable m there. So we need to find m. Let's draw our lines to represent the cross multiplication. 9m, or m times 9 there, equals 12 times 6, which is 72. So let's isolate our m, divide both sides by 9, and that will bring us to our answer. M equals 8. So 9/12 equals 6/8. And last,
Okay, so, and again, I like how he's taking now that he knows the value of that variable m, and he's putting it into that original proportion and just substituting the value of m, 8, where it goes so we can see. And we know that's true. Those two fractions are equivalent to each other. Those two ratios are equivalent to each other. 9/12 is the same proportion as 6/8. Okay? We're going to do number 4. Just do me a quick favor again, and if you could, at this point, after reviewing this through using this video, if you could all please go back on that 1 through 3 scale that we were using. 1 is I don't remember how to do cross multiplying at all. 2 is I think I'm getting it, but might need a little bit of help. And 3 is I think I've got it now on my own. Can you go ahead and just update me after this review? And then those of you that might still need a little bit of support, I will continue to support you. I'm going to make a note. So don't forget, I do want you to kind of store this strategy in your head as well. Store the vocabulary of cross multiplying and ratios and proportions in your head, and store how to do this process in your head in order to come back to it, even if we haven't done it. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you have shared with me, but if the rest of you could just update me, how are you doing now? Okay, good. I just want to make sure I can offer like support to those of you who might still need a little bit of help. Okay, thank you. All right, let's try the very last one more. So again, we have 10 to W would be the ratio on one side equals 5 to 9. So let's think through how to do this cross multiplying process. Think about multiplying 10 times 9. It's going to equal 5 times W, which is 5W. And then let's see how we solve. Is there anybody who wants to try to share what they did before we watch the video and see if you've got the right answer? All right, Michaela, I'm going to let you go ahead.
Okay, so what I did was, well, I set it up first of all, and then I did 10 times 9 equals 90, and 90 then 5 times W is 5W. So then I isolated variable 5W divided by 5 equals W. So then 90 divided by 5 equals 18, and that means 18 equals W.
Okay, nice. So I wish that you can you hold it up to the screen so we can kind of look at your work? That might be easy for some people to see. Sorry that you don't have the option to screen share since you did it on paper, but
sorry, I talked fast.
That's okay. All right, so can we see that if you are looking there? You see how she did her cross multiplying. 10 times 9 is 90 equals 5W. I see that step written out. Good. And then she's dividing each side by 5 to isolate that variable. And then 18 does equal W because 90 divided by 5 equals 18. All right. Thanks, Michaela. Does anybody have a question about what she did there in that process? Oh, good. I see some people telling me in their in the messages that they got 18 as well, which is awesome. Okay, let's watch that last one and let's see him lead us through that step, that process too.
lastly, number 4, 10 over W equals 5/9. So draw out our cross multiplication. 9 times 10 is 90, and that equals 5 times W, or 5W. So we wrap up the problem. We need to isolate the W, divide both sides by 5, and we get W equals 18. So 10/18 equals 5/9. So there you have it. There's how you solve proportions using cross multiplication. I hope that helped. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, peace. Video. I'm going.
Okay, so good. Did you find that video to be helpful and refreshing your memory about how to do cross multiplying? I hope so. So this is what we're going to do. If you still need support, I'm happy to help those of you who said you were still below a 3 in your understanding of how to do that on your own. Now, we only have about 10 minutes left of our class for today. So I'm going to move our motivational video to tomorrow so that we can, have time to watch and look at that together. With our remaining 10 minutes, if you need to take like a couple minutes of a fresh air break, step outside of your door for a minute, I would definitely suggest maybe trying to do some mindful smelling. I've noticed that the smells of spring are upon us. So if you have the chance to step outside your door and just kind of be in the fresh air for a minute and close your eyes and try to just like take some nice smells, that would be I think really interesting for you to see what you smell in spring. My remote friends up in the cafeteria, I don't think we have enough time right now to go on a whole walk, but I think you could ask Miss Smith if you could stand outside on the patio for a minute and just do some mindful smelling out there for a couple of minutes. And then I want you to use the rest of your 10 minutes here to try to finish your cross multiplying problem that I assigned to you, and then to see if you are able to finish up your dot plots and your questions for tomorrow as well, because I want to at least start sharing some of those projects tomorrow. So take like a 2-minute break, 3-minute break away from your computer just to get some fresh air and do some mindful smelling, then come back and continue working on your cross multiplying. Okay, I will be here. If any of you want to go into a breakout room with me, just let me know, and I'm happy to help you with that cross multiplying. So I'm going to stay right here. Okay, so come back in like 2 minutes. So I know you're back. Put your camera back on so that I know who's back, and then we'll wrap up our class with Cord at the end too. Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead, take a quick break. Hi, Angel. So, Angel, when you're working on your problem for the horse and his strides, and then your walking strides as well, right? Can you at least put on your mic so I can talk to you? Do you know how to set up the first problem where one of his strides is equal to 28 feet?
What horse?
Remember in our whole activity that we did where we were talking about Man-O-War and his 28-foot strides, and then we measured our walk and run strides against his?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember how many run strides you did?
You wrote them in the paper.
Yes, we did. We wrote that in the chart. Do you happen to have that handy?
8.
If not, it's okay, because we can start with his data first.
She did 8 strides.
Okay. So, all right. So we are comparing 2 things. First, we're trying to figure out how many strides it's going to take the horse Man-O-War in order to go 1 whole mile. So if you look